Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. You can basically follow me on any social media platform, or you can just type in thereligioushippie.com and get straight to my website. So today's topic is gonna be a fun one. Basically today I'm just going to be talking to you guys about my experience with the new age stuff. Like most young adults, I was kind of sucked into the new age, weird, witchcrafty stuff, and I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with that. I'm literally about to expose like pre-Catholic Amber, so I apologize to anyone who thought I was better than this. I mean, I came out of it, but like, you know, still. So per usual, like a lot of young adults, I was sucked into the new agey type of thing before coming back into my faith. I heard a lot of reverts who have gone through something similar, where they have experimented with the occult or the new age stuff before coming back into Catholicism and repenting of all of that. And so that was basically me. But my story is a bit more milder than some people. Some people actually like get into witchcraft and all of that stuff. I never specifically dabbled with Ouija boards or tarot cards or, you know, palm readers or anything like that, but I was still sucked into what people like to call like the safe new age side of things, like, you know, yoga and manifesting and all that crap. Like, yeah. Anyways, let's just get into it. So when I was younger, I was really into these ghost stories, these spooky tales and things, and mainly it was because one of the guys that I liked at the time, I had a crush on him, and he was really into all of that stuff. He was atheist, and I really wanted to impress him, and so I tried to get into the scary movies and like the creepy stuff too, like creepypasta, and that's kind of what kickstarted all of this. Careful of them crushes, girl. They might crush your soul. I watched a lot of videos on how to open your third eye. I watched a lot of videos on how to find your, what was it, like spirit animal or something? It was really weird. I started practicing yoga and I bought a bunch of crystals and like rocks and things because, you know, rocks have brains or something and can totally make my life better. Now, I want to reiterate here that I never specifically messed around with like Ouija boards or tarot cards or anything like that, but I will say that the temptation to do so was extremely high because all of my friends were doing it. It was one of those things that just teenagers were doing back in like 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. I never specifically participated, but they would always tell me about their stories and things and how, oh my gosh, you should come to a seance and like all this crazy stuff. And I knew better because my mom put the fear in the Lord of me when it came to those types of things. Like we just knew not to mess with them, like they were bad news. But the curiosity definitely was still there. I had a lot of friends that were into like the occult, Wicca, Satanism, and all of that type of stuff. It was, looking back on it, I'm surprised that I did not get brainwashed as much as I thought I did, but I never really gave much thought about it. I would always kind of be like, well, who am I to judge? You know, like I'm a Catholic, but like I don't even go to church, so why should I judge them for being into whatever they're into, you know, type of thing. That can be really dangerous thinking, might I add. And to parents out there, make sure that you're raising your kids with a backbone to be able to stand up to people like that and be like, no, this is wrong, and this is why it's wrong, and they can quote scripture and stuff like that. I definitely stood up to them, but it wasn't in the same way. Like, I would just tell them like, no thanks, I'm good, but you can do whatever you want to do. You know, that whole relativism that's going around these days, your truth is your truth, but my truth is my truth. Like, there's no objective truth. Yeah. Make sure your kids are aware of relativism and how to combat it, especially if they're teenagers. So during that time, I knew that those things were bad, but I never specifically knew why they were bad, per se. So back then, it didn't really have me running for the hills like I am now. Like, I clear away from that stuff, from everything Father Ripperger has talked about with, you know, people cursing food constantly. I'm good. I'm good. I was also obsessed with really dark shows like The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Supernatural, Ghost Adventures, I think is what it was called, with Zach Bagans. I had a crush on Zach Bagans when I was a teenager, so again, be careful of those crushes. I couldn't really tell you guys why I was obsessed with all shows that had to deal with the occult and demons like Riverdale and all of that stuff, but for some reason, I was just completely fascinated by it, like the supernatural side of things, but I was focusing on the wrong side of the supernatural side of things. During this time, I was going through a lot of pain. I was losing a lot of friends. I had a lot of people talking behind my back. I was going through a lot of bullying. It was just not a good time for teenage Amber. She was going through a lot. And because I wasn't in my faith, I didn't really feel like I had much power over my circumstances, but for some reason rocks made me feel like I had control over my circumstance. I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. All I know is that I was looking for a source of power for me. Like, I wanted to be able to control things, but what we don't realize is that you are either with God or you are with Satan. There is no gray area. There is no in between. You are either a friend to God or a friend to Satan. And when you don't turn to God, you're turning to Satan. And I highly suggest you guys read that book, Diary of American Exorcist, if this type of thing does not freak you out. If it does freak you out, please, again, do not read the book. Why would you do that to yourself? Anyways, I was basically extremely intrigued by these things. I thought that saging my room would get rid of bad energy and that rocks and stuff had some kind of power to make my life better and make other people's lives worse. I don't know how I thought that was, but the world basically lies to you and is like, yeah, rocks have brains and they can have magical powers. I always thought that there was like good magic, like what they call white magic, like white witches versus evil magic or dark witches. I don't know. There's no such thing. Dark magic is dark magic. There's no white magic. Again, like I said, if you're not turning to God and relying on Him, you're turning to Satan. And at the end of the day, Satan actually does not have power. I mean, he's kept on a very short leash by God, and anything he actually can do is because God permits it. I would try to meditate, I would try yoga, I would try to watch videos on how to find your spirit animal or whatever. I don't even know why that was a thing. Like, why is that a thing? The list goes like on and on. I literally could probably list a bunch of things that I tried doing. Opening my third eye, trying to talk to ghosts in the house, like all this stuff. And I will mention that I did live in a haunted house for quite a long time. It was one specific demon, and I was shoved down the stairs. My sister was almost pushed off the top bunk of a bed. Like, there was like a bunch of stuff. That's a whole other story. We're not talking about that today. So that also kind of kick-started my interest in like into the demonic and into like the supernatural side of things. Is just my curiosity of what's in my house type of thing. And it's important to understand the Catholic Church's stance on ghosts. So what the Catholic Church believes is that regular spirits or ghosts or whatever are in purgatory and they're coming to us for prayers and reminding us to pray for them. If there's stuff moving around, poltergeists, whatever you want to call it, those are demons. That's not Grandma Jojo. That's not Grandpa Al. You gotta get your house exorcised because that is in fact a demon. And looking back on like my mental health issues during this time, like yes, a lot of it was due to the fact of high school and being bullied and having all those rumors around and, just the insanity that is high school. However, I also want to say that there was like a spiritual side to it. I definitely think that Satan can influence us in certain decisions and he can use our interests against us. So what I mean by that is outside of the faith, when I was curious about demonology and I was curious about the supernatural side of things, I instantly went to the occult and I instantly went to that side, the evil side. Coming back into my faith, when that stuff interests me, I realized that there's actually a sect of the church for that. We call them exorcists. And demonology is something we can study and know and understand. And Father Ripperger is one of my most favorite exorcists, along with Father Crow. And because I still had such an interest in demonology and the spiritual side of things, when I came back into my faith, I was able to focus on the proper way of going about studying it. It wasn't like, oh, all the books on the occult. No, it was listening to Father Ripperger, learning the Catholic side of things, learning how demons and angels work, knowing that God is bigger than Satan and always will be, and anything Satan does, it's because God permits it. Like all of these things, and that side of Catholicism has a place in my heart. I don't know why, it just interests me so much. it's just so fascinating. But coming back into my faith, I really started realizing the dangers of the new cults, you know, the new age stuff that's going around. And I ended up purging everything from my life. I threw just like everything away. I was like, absolutely not in this now newly godly house. No. And so since then, obviously, I haven't watched any of those creepy shows that the world tries to shove into your face. Honestly, at this point, they're not even hiding it. I know a lot of us forget about things that happen on social media, but if you remember, like, I think it was Little Nas who decided to, like, make shoes with human blood and, like, they were, like, satanic. Like, this whole thing, it's in our faces now, and it's not even avoidable. So parents, if your kids are interested in this stuff, please get them out of it. This is not okay. And you are their parent. You are their guardian. You are responsible for them and their soul to a certain age. Every kid is different, so how you get them out of that situation is going to have to be up to your disposal. I don't know your children, but please do not let them go through that. That will ruin them. Trust me. I still study demonology and like the spiritual side of things until this day, and it's really fascinates me. Looking back on my experience with the New Age stuff and how my friends were all doing it, and I kind of got sucked in a little bit, though I never actually participated in seances or Ouija boards or whatever you want to call it. I definitely saw the effect it had on them and the effect it still has on them today when I sometimes come across them on social media or something like that, and I just feel so sad for them, honestly. We need to remember that God is in control, not us, and we cannot outsource God with ourselves. That's not how it works. The Bible condemns witchcraft and palm readers and sages and all of that stuff. So if you are one of those people who did practice occult and all of that thing and you are now back in the faith, make sure you confess that. It is a grave sin. But welcome back, and know that there is a different side to all of that, a better side, the Catholic side. But we really do need to stay vigilant and careful because parents, it is everywhere in high school. Literally everywhere. There's no way that your kid has not come in contact with somebody else who is involved in the occult in some way, unless they're homeschooled and you know who their friends are. Like, that's different. But I just even know in my own, when I was a teenager, in my own very small, everybody knew everybody Catholic group, there were young girls doing occult stuff, and I was subjected to that. And I was just like, I don't know what to think about this, so I'm not going to. When kids are that young, they don't know any better. And a lot of times they might try to hide it from their parents. So just be vigilant, please. I'm not saying to be a helicopter parent. What I am saying, though, is that we need to be raising kids to know how to deal with these things when, not if, when they come in contact with these types of things. Because at the end of the day, they will, and if they're not prepared, they don't know how to handle the situation, they might be falling into some grave sins. So anyways, I totally just exposed pre-Catholic Amber, but it's fine. If anything, hopefully it makes me more relatable and you guys can cringe with me. With all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry it was a little all over the place. I was trying to think of like how to encompass all of this and it just was not working. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!